Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Arvin Liliana. My ID student is 33 So today I will explain about apply linguistics and language learning as a midterm project. So, what is apply linguistics? Apply linguistics is a branch of linguistics that focuses on solving real-world problems related to language. It applies linguistic theories and knowledge to areas such as language teaching, translation, communication, and more. So it's not just theory, but something practical and useful. The next is definition of language learning. Language learning is the process of acquiring a new language. It could be learning a second language like we learn English or a foreign language. This process can happen in classroom but also through daily experience like watching movies, listening music, or speaking with native speaker. Next is role of applied linguistics in language learning. The first is how to identify learners' difficulties. The second is informed teaching method. The third is support curriculum design. This is where applied linguistics plays an important role. The first is how identify the difficulties students face in learning a language, such as grammar or pronunciation error. Second, it helps teachers choose the right teaching method like the communication approach. The third, it helps design curriculum and material that meet the learner needs. Next is key theory and apply linguistics. The first is creation input hypothesis, interlanguage theory, and social-cultural theory or Vygotsky. There are some important theories in applied linguistics that support language learning. The first is creation input hypothesis, say that learners acquire language better when they get input that is understandable. Second, interlanguage theory explains how learners create their own language system. And the third is Vygotsky theory, highlights the role of social interaction in learning, especially through group work or discussion. So, why applying linguistics is important in language learning? The first is make teaching more effective, help address learner differences, bridge theory and practice. So, why applying linguistics is important? Because it helps make language teaching more effective, allow teachers to adapt method to different students, and connect theory with real practice. It makes learning more meaningful and fun. So in conclusion, applied linguistics is very useful in process of language learning. With the help of its theories and approach, teaching becomes better and learners can learn more effectively. So let me share a story about my language learner journey, learning journey. Okay, when I was in high school, I used to struggle with learning English. My teacher always focused on grammar drills and memorizing vocabulary. I remember feeling bored and confused because I didn't really know how to use language in real situations. I could write correct sentence, but I couldn't speak fluently or understand native speaker. The one day I joined an online English community where people from around the world talk about music, movies, and daily life. We didn't care about the grammar. We just talked. At first, I was so nervous, but I kept joining the discussion. Over time, I realized that my speaking and listening skill improved a lot. I started to acquire the language naturally, just like how question theory of comprehensible input explain we learn language base when we retrieve input that is just slightly above our current level but still understandable. I also noticed that I building my own version of English at my beginning, mixing Indonesian and English where which makes the concept of interlanguage. It was a transition stage before I developed better fluency. My interaction with other learners and native speakers reflects Linguistic's idea that social interaction is essential for cognitive development. Looking back, I realized applying linguistic theories were working in my own experience even though I didn't know it back then. That where that is when I understood that language learning is not just about rules, but about communication, connection, and meaningful practice. Okay, so that's all my explanation about this material. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.